All right, welcome to Trailer Teardowns, where we take a trailer and talk about all its parts, which I gotta say, when you say it, kind of feels a little dirty, like talking about its parts. But so we will be respectfully discussing the nuances within a trailer that make us want to see it or take a hard pass. I'm one of your hosts, Evan Baz-Zeitzel, with co-host Angel Acevedo, and today we're discussing the trailer for Companion. Do you want to do an intro or you want to do some banter? I'll do it. So why don't we talk about ourselves?
Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this podcast, Angel?
I had an idea. I like trailers. I like watching them.
I was over in LA a few weeks ago visiting, and of course, Angel pulls up some trailers, and we're watching trailers and just sort of, I don't know, talking about them, what was intriguing, what was not. And I think you sort of said, like, this would be kind of cool to have a podcast that did this.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are like podcasts and YouTube series where people react to a trailer drop in, which those are fine, but I felt like, it'd be kind of cool to like watch a trailer and just break it down, see if you're into it, see if you're like, is this something you would watch? Something I watched so many trailers, thought I was like, oh, that'd be kind of fun. Short and sweet, I like listening to movie podcasts where people discuss them. Let's do it for trailers. And something like this may exist already, but we figure we'll just do our take on it.
And I also think it's interesting because you and I both have a love of movies, but sort of approach it in different ways. I am not a trailer junkie as much as you are, but I mean, I see trailers for movies, and I think like as we all do, if it's on streaming, I'll click on a trailer to see if that moves me to watch a movie. And I think that's what's kind of interesting about teasers or trailers or teaser trailers or whatever we call them, in whatever variation they come, is it is the pitch for come watch this movie. Like I remember I watched, what is it, Searching for a Friend for the End of the World or something like that. It's Steve Carell and, what's her name from Bend It Like Beckham?
Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley, yes, thank you. And the trailer was a comedy, and I went into it and I was like, okay, let's see this movie. It's great. And like, the movie has some comedic moments, but it is not a comedy. Like I cried during the movie. I think I cried like maybe multiple times.
The trailer was a comedy.
The trailer was cut like a comedic trailer with all of the humorous lines and none of the seriousness. And it's amazing because I like went and saw the movie and I was like, oh, and it didn't leave a distaste for it, but I was just like, I felt a little bit cheated because they did a good job in the comedic trailer, but it wasn't a comedy. You can cut a trailer in different ways. Like I know there's the famous one where somebody recut The Shining to be a happy family vacation movie. And like, it's amazing what can happen in that edit, which I think is really interesting that people don't think about that much, or I guess many people don't think about that much. I think you might think about it a lot.
Good point. I was definitely wanted to, depending if we do more of these podcasts, definitely talk about like those trailers that people were doing recuts for. The big one was The Shining, where they flipped it and made it into a family comedy. It just shows you the power of editing and music and what you can do to just change the tone of something. But yeah, trailers, they're designed to sell you on the idea of this movie and what is it, and intrigue you enough to like go buy a ticket or sign up for a streaming service to watch that new show or movie. So like there are great trailers, but then the movies can just suck.
Yeah, well, and there was a stint of trailers where it was like all the comedic lines or all the action moments, and then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, like literally the trailer had all the good parts.
Yeah, no, those are the worst. There'll be trailers that show you everything, like the whole story. There's like no surprise left, or they show you all the big moments. But like it's a balance, right? You gotta like, if you're the studio, you're like trying to sell people, you gotta show them something that's gonna entice them to come, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the interesting thing is you could cut a billion different trailers for the same movie and tell different stories, and the question is like, is it a good enough one to get somebody to buy a ticket or watch it on streaming?
With nowadays, for me, the trailer, I would rather less is more. And like this Companion is a good example of that. We'll talk about that in a bit. This one's classified as the teaser, and it's a good teaser. It doesn't really tell you much going on. There's not much known about the movie too, but I guess with that, we can just like dive in and,
Okay, so here, give it intro on Companion.
So yeah, Companion. This teaser came out about a month and a half ago. I think it was first announced in like June of 2023. Didn't really know about it. They just announced who's in the cast, who's directing. No details are known on the plot. I think the only thing that is known that it's supposed to have like a sci-fi angle to it, from what I've read.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
You can kind of see some of that in the teaser.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm
Really
gonna.
quick.
Yeah, no, I'm curious because I didn't see that, but now I'm.
Very,
I love
yeah, I think it's like very, very brief and
very brief.
flashes
Okay.
of it. I think to me, it does the job. You don't really know what it's about.
When you recommended we do this trailer, or I was like, oh, I don't know anything about this, and then I watched it, and as I started to watch it, I'm a big fan of Jack Quaid's his indie films, The Boys, and so I admittedly follow him on Instagram, and he had posted, so I actually had seen the teaser before, and I was like, oh, okay, it's this one, cool.
To me, this is a great teaser in the sort of like the form of it.
Why is it great for you?
I think it's because it doesn't tell you a lot, and I like that it's just like a montage of images and clips with no dialogue, just sound and effects. Though there is a little bit of dialogue, but it's used as voiceover from, I'm assuming, the actress that's in the handcuffed to the chair at the dining room table.
Well, and this is an interesting thing though, because it's not fully montage. It starts off as almost one elongated scene, but clips of that scene, and then until you get this reveal of, oh, she's in handcuffs. But even before that, there are different nuanced moments, right? So I'm always intrigued when they do sort of long sequences, and there are things that bring your focus, and then the things that aren't the main focus, but when you sort of look deeper, you start seeing things. So you got the first clip is the plate getting seasoned, the food getting seasoned, and then it gets brought to the table. And if you look at the person bringing it to the table, his white shirt has blood all over it. I don't know if you saw that.
I think it's kind of hard to discern what it really is. It looks like dirt. It's a dirty shirt. It's not.
You saw dirt.
Red,
Okay,
but I noticed it as well.
I saw his blood, and then he brings it down and puts it in front of Jack Quaid, and Jack Quaid's right hand. Well, you don't see it initially, but then you see is bandaged, and then you get the reveal of.
But you don't see his hand. I don't think you see his hand bandaged there.
No, not there, but it is in that sequence. Yeah.
Here's another thing about this teaser, like that we should obviously start with. Like it presents itself as like it's going to be like a rom-com, right? Oh, it's a dinner setting. There's a chef making a beautiful meal, bringing it to a couple, and then there's the turn, right? And the music drops, and you see the handcuff, and then it's like. Then we're getting into the teaser, and it's like, whoa, what is this? And it's just images. The first title card that you see there, shortly after that, is like from the creators of Barbarian. Which,
The Unhinged. Well,
have you seen Barbarian?
No, I haven't. I know of it. I just don't. What?
It's really good. It was like a sleeper hit in 22. I wish I saw it in theaters because I think it would have been really fun with an audience. But I think I watched it on Max. Really good. Definitely check it out. It is horror, but it's got like this like twist to it. It doesn't.
Well, the thing I'd say about this also, this teaser is before you see she's in handcuffs, you do see like him looking at her kind of lovingly, as you said. It sort of presents this love story, but you do see her, and she sort of gives this like eyebrow raise, kind of like she's into it. That I like, since I don't know much about this story, I was like, huh, it's named Companion, and maybe she's his companion and he's like entrapping her or something, or they're companions in that they're both together and they're both kind of crazy and messed up. When you get this like montage of stuff that they're both doing, I think they're both doing it. To me, it came off. And one of the things that I found interesting was you had, like, as you said, you start with this love story sort of imagery in the dining scenario, but then it goes into this montage of clips, and it's a lot of violence, but it's a lot of different violence. And you're like, sometimes the person seems like the victim, but other times it seems like they are the hunter rather than the hunted.
Who? The girl's the hunter?
I thought the girl a little bit was the hunter at times. There's one shot with the knife that I feel like I thought it was the girl's hand, and maybe that's her defending herself, or maybe that's her killing somebody. And then there's the random dude with the like the cattle prod taser, who's like, who's that? Yeah. I thought it was
That's the
interesting.
thing. You're like, you're asking questions like, what are the, all these images? I think once you see the whole teaser, you're thinking, okay, this girl's been kidnapped or is being held against her will. Why is that? It almost feels like there's two to three different movies kind of going on in this, which I find it very intriguing. There's like this isolated something happening in the house where they're at the table.
But there is the chef. The chef is standing there. It's not like this dude kidnapped her and it's like locked up in his cabin. It's like there's another person there. Maybe that person is held captive as well at some level. Yeah.
Do you think that Jack Quaid is the sort of antagonist there? Like, what are you thinking?
For me, like for some reason I'm feeling like it's not at all a match in trailer or vibe, but like a Natural Born Killers throwback, where potentially both of them are a bit messed up. But mainly that's because of that voiceover that you talked about, where it's the female character's voiceover about how, like, when they first met, they were like, what is it, love at first sight or meant for each other or something.
Yeah.
And then there's also that ending imagery, which circles back to the dining room table, which I had to look it up. But the imagery is this: the woman is like holding her hand over a flame, unshakingly, like not moving, and her entire arm's on fire, which is like a crazy pain tolerance. Actually looked up, what did I look up? The name of what it's called when somebody can't feel, CIPA, C-I-P-A, congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis, which is when people like don't have any pain neuron feeling. And so they get injured because they don't know that like they're getting stabbed or something like that because they can't feel the pain.
Okay.
Like I was like, maybe she's got that. Like it makes no sense how she could pull that off, or maybe it's a fear thing where he's entrapped her. But at the same time, like I feel like that's too simple. Like we've seen that movie before. So what makes this different? If it was just like a crazy rich person entrapment thing.
Again, I think that's what's really cool about this teaser. You're just like, what is this about? What is this like? What's the safe with the stacks of money? What is that?
I mean, is it a game somehow?
Yeah, it could
right?
be a game for that, for Jack Quaid's character. One thing that, after, watching it a few times and looking at it, the actor who plays that chef that's making the meal in the beginning, he appears a few different other times as potentially different characters. So the actor's name is Lucas Gage. So he's that chef in the opening.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys dancing in the middle of that costume party, dressed in some kind of Victorian outfit.
Okay.
He's the cop or something, holding that electrical pod.
Oh, he's the creepy cop.
Prod.
Yeah,
so
the
he's
prod.
that. And then he's also the guy that's punching what looks like a highway car.
Outside the car. Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, granted, we don't know anything in the context of all that and who his character. I mean, it could be the same character, or to me, it's four different things. Maybe the cop and the guy punching the cop are maybe the same character.
What if he's the bad guy? What if Jack Quaid and the other woman, they are the captives and they're being forced to do different things to each other by that guy?
Potentially.
Like almost like was it Reindeer? Not Reindeer Games. What's that one with you and I saw it in theaters when we did that one marathon day of jumping between two theaters and watching all the movies. It was the remake of the German movie where the two kids.
Funny Games.
Funny Games.
Okay.
Like it could be almost like a Funny Games thing where that guy goes in and chooses a couple and makes them like do horrible things.
Maybe. But so you noticed that, we had at one point we cut back to the dining room scene and you see that Jack has like a bandage
over
on
his hand. Yep.
And I think he's holding a gun too, right?
The gun is right next to it. It's not, he's not holding it, but it's next to it. Yeah. And she also in another scene has a gun pointed at him.
Yes, but that's like later in the like daylight scene, or I forget. But we see how he gets hurt. I don't know if you caught that.
Yes, yeah, with the hand being slammed in the door.
In the door. Yep. So they're obviously fighting each other. It seems like she's trying to escape. So that it's just interesting, there. So like in terms of like the sci-fi thing, some of the images that like ring to me sci-fi, the guy holding the prod, but like right before that there's like this vehicle, like almost like an ambulance kind of looking thing that's opened up, it's cold, it's silver. That just sort of screams a little bit sci-fi to me, you know, a vehicle like
Because
that.
people also are in like full hazmat suits.
Yes, they're in some sort of like, not, are they in full hazmat suits? I
It
can't
looks like,
remember.
or not full, but it looks like they've got hoods on. Maybe it's just raining. It's raining
But
outside.
also, like, you know, talking about her holding the arm, like, what do you think? Why does she do that? Like, holding her arm in the flame?
I mean, I'm assuming it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to make another reference that I can't. What was that movie? Angelina Jolie directed it, where the guy had to at one point like hold the wooden thing above his head at I think it was like a Japanese internment camp. It was based off of a famous runner's life story.
I don't know the name of the movie, but I know what you're talking about.
I would not necessarily recommend the movie. I think the best part of that movie was the shark scene, which is like 5 seconds.
So what's the connection?
But the connection is potentially if she moves her hand, she gets shot and killed or something. Like it's a torture thing. Like if you don't do this, then something bad happens. But at the exact same time, that's like one side of my thoughts. But the other side is given the voiceover where it's talking about this, like, I love you and, you know, we were meant for each other, that maybe they both enjoy the pain and it's sort of a masochistic thing.
Maybe.
And that like, this is how they get off. I don't know. It was that's where my duality was. Initially, I thought it was they were getting off on doing these crazy things. That there's the Natural Born Killers reference, I think, like in my head.
Got it.
But now that you pointed out about that one character being in all those scenes, I don't know. I think maybe he's the bad guy.
Yeah. I have a wild thing that is like, what if she's an android? You know, it's like we're in this world where like androids are your companions, and you know, if you go back and look at the wide shot, it's like the second to the last shot of the teaser where like she's holding her arm in the flame, and she just looks. There's like no emotion. She has like no reaction. She's holding it like she's like just turned off. And it's so quick, and maybe it's because it's so quick, you know, there's no chance to kind of give you like she's feeling anything, but like she just almost looks like an android there.
And if you look at the hand, that when the flame goes underneath the hand,
Yeah, the close up, it looks
it
plastic.
does look a little bit, but it just, I mean, I'm sure they used a prosthetic instead of somebody's actual hand. So it could just be the fact that they used a prosthetic and they were hoping it passed well for the human hand. But yeah, I did think when it went on underneath, I was like, that looks like a prosthetic, which I wasn't thinking. I didn't think the android approach. She is crying at the end, though. She does have a tear that's coming out of her eye, which would be non-android-esque.
It is, but that could be,
Misdirection.
you know, maybe these androids of this period of this world, they have some sort of emotion like that where they can cry. I don't know. But also, like, you're led to believe that, like, she's on fire, she's crying because she's in pain. But that's just an edit, right? You can cut any image there. So, like, that's the trickery of, like, trailers and teasers, how you juxtapose things.
Yeah, I will say it is very nicely done when you have one long scene that bookends it, where you're getting pieces of that scene where it still leads mystery, but in between with that montage, it does play really well. It does like, oh, what is going on here and here and here? Oh, wait, now we got to go back to this thing. Like, okay, we'll go back to this thing, which is different questions. I think it's like a very smart way of doing it.
Yeah.
Because it also feels very controlled because it begins with the part of the scene and then you end with a different part of that scene. So it feels like, oh, I just got a moment.
And like looking back at like the last shot of the teaser where it's a close up of her crying, I think you see flames kind of like going, like reflecting off of her, and in the background of the house, like the glass. It seems like those are kind of happening at the same time. So like yeah, it's like, well, what do androids really cry? I don't know. It's a theory.
I mean, maybe it is the Jack Quaid and the other guy are the crazy people, and like sort of like Get Out, where one of them sort of fools the other one into thinking it's a relationship just to lure them into a bad situation.
Yeah. I guess just to wrap it up, I'll see it opening weekend.
Really? Okay.
I don't need to see more, and I would prefer not to see more too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
this is a
Yeah,
teaser.
yeah.
I'm
No,
sure
no.
there's going to be another trailer as we get closer to its release date, which is, by the way, I wrote it down here, January 10th, 2025.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't need to see anymore. I'm like, all right, you got me, I'm hooked. I'm there opening weekend. It'll probably be the first movie I see in 2025. since it's at the beginning of the year. So that's, I'm there.
Interesting. Well, it's me and like horror movies. It's not necessarily my
Yeah, but this is not a
go-to.
horror movie. I mean,
So
it could be, but like it doesn't.
it's I mean,
It just has it has
no, that's true.
violence,
That's true. That's
but
true. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, it looks like it's got a lot of violence. So yeah, for me, I'd say this is sort of hovering between. I'd save it to my watch list versus if there's nothing else on, I'll watch it. Angel and I have a disagreement on the rating scale, but for me, there's like a certain level that I need to save it to my watch list, and just the nature of it, I think it'd be like an intriguing one, but because of the amount of violence and stuff, it's just not like my cup of tea, as it were.
so the violence is turning you off.
The violent, like, I got a really active imagination, and like I saw Jaws when I was little, and I still like imagine a shark in the ocean if I'm like swimming in the ocean, and I'll be like, oh god, I got to get out because what if Jaws is there? So I just I'm selective on it. Don't get me wrong, like Get Out, Nope are like some of my favorite of that genre. But just the sort of like, I don't want to call it gore porn, but it's got a lot of blood and violence, which is some people's thing, but for me is not like my go-to.
I wouldn't. I mean, again, this is just a teaser. We don't really know much
Yeah.
about
Oh
it.
yeah. But I wouldn't want to watch anything more.
So I wouldn't classify it as a gore porn or
Yeah.
like an Eli Roth type movie. This is the director. This is his first feature. Drew Hancock is his name.
What has he done?
He's
Do you
written a
know?
lot of stuff. Directed
Okay.
some series, online stuff for Channel 101. Do you remember that? But his
yeah.
stuff seems to skew comedy.
Interesting. Okay.
Like this, I feel like could also even be like a mishmash of genres where it's like it's a thriller, sci-fi, dark comedy.
Kind of like Edgar Wright style in a way, where you could use comedy but throw in other things. Like either Edgar Wright has that really dark comedy of the two serial killers in, I want to say, like Scotland, like an RV.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's like very indie, but it's these like two serial killers that are just driving across the country, I think, in an RV and like murdering people.
Edgar
But
Wright.
it's a dark comedy. Yeah.
Was this before or after like Shaun of the Dead?
After.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I gotta check that one out.
And Jack Quaid has mainly done comedies or dark comedies. Like his indie films are comedies. The Boys is kind of dark comedy. So I mean, if it was just pure thriller or kind of horror, it would be completely new genre style for him, which isn't out of the ordinary. But as you said, if the director kind of leans dark comedies, maybe that'll be come out in the next trailer release.
Yeah, I want to see this movie. I don't want to see any more. But if the trailer comes out, I'm gonna be like, I want to watch it.
I'll watch it and let you know.
Yeah, and maybe I'm curious to hear your take on it. If it like changes your like, oh, I'll definitely see that opening weekend.
I mean, it truthfully, coming into this podcast, I was like, I'm probably not going to watch it. But then after talking about it and maybe a sci-fi element, I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'd put it on if it's on streaming. And
I feel like this could be fun in theaters.
I'm just not going to be there. I'm not going to be opening nighter at theaters, though.
Should we like, this is our first podcast doing this. This is my first podcast. But like, should we like toss this to the audience? Like, hey, let us know what you think. Are you there for this movie?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what people say.
Definitely. You want to look at that. After that banter right there, if you're listening to this, leave a note what you think of the teaser trailer.
Where did they leave notes? Do they just do it in the comments?
I think you can do it in the on Spotify podcast. I don't know. I'm sure there's audience interaction. We're skilled at this. We know what we're talking about. So if there is audience interaction, you will hear this part in the podcast. And if so, leave your thoughts on what you liked, your favorite parts of the trailer, what you didn't like about the trailer, and if you think you're going to go see it.
I think they should just tell us if they're there or not. Like we just did what we liked.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
All right. You do whatever you do whatever you
Exactly.
want. We are.
But yeah, I'm there. I'm there opening weekend. I don't need to see any more.
I'll watch it on streaming.
Okay. I guess that's it.
It takes a lot to get me to go see it opening night. If it was opening night and Jack Quaid and director and a bunch of other people were there, like hell yeah. But that that's a lot. I mean, this isn't Megalopolis.
Yeah, nothing is. All right. So how do we close this?
All right, that's signing out of that. Thank you for listening.